Waves crash, a rhythmic lullaby against the shore. But here, just beyond the dune, the air hangs heavy, still. A weathered sign, barely legible, whispers a forgotten name. The old house stands silhouetted, windows like vacant eyes watching the encroaching dusk. What secrets does it guard? Welcome to Room Beneath, where we dive into the chilling tales that linger in the shadows. Before we begin, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next stories. Tonight, we journey to a coastal mystery that will make you think twice about your next vacation. The salty air filled our lungs, a welcome change from city smog. Liam, Chloe, Sam, and I, Maya, had finally made it to Lighthouse Bay. Our rental, an old place advertised as rustic charm, loomed on a secluded stretch of sand. It was bigger than expected, with peeling paint and boarded-up windows on one side, hinting at years of neglect. "All right, team, Operation Epic Beach Vacation officially commences," Liam grinned, tossing his backpack onto the porch. Chloe was already snapping photos, captivated by the weathered beauty, while Sam nervously checked his phone for signal. I just felt a strange chill, despite the warm sun. Inside, the house felt strangely cold, even with the afternoon sun streaming through the dusty windows. A faint, musty smell hung in the air, like forgotten memories. We split up, claiming rooms, but curiosity quickly drew us to the living area. It was sparse, furnished with heavy, outdated pieces. Tucked away in a drawer of a rickety desk, Maya found something. "Guys, look at this," she called out, holding up a brittle leather-bound journal and a hand-drawn map. The map was intricate, depicting the local coastline, with a prominent X marked directly over our house's location. The journal had faded script, mostly illegible, but one word stood out: whispers. Later that evening, as the tide receded, a strange quiet descended upon the house. We were huddled in the living room, trying to decipher the old journal, when a soft, rhythmic creaking started from upstairs. It wasn't the wind, the air was still. "Did you guys hear that?" Sam whispered, his eyes wide behind his glasses. Liam, ever the skeptic, dismissed it as old house noises. But then a floorboard above us groaned, distinct and heavy, as if someone had just taken a step. We froze. The creaking stopped, replaced by an unsettling silence. Chloe clutched her camera tighter, her usual adventurous spirit dimmed. Determined to find the source, Liam grabbed a flashlight, leading us upstairs. The hallway felt colder, the shadows deeper. As we approached what we thought was a solid wall at the end of the hall, Maya noticed a faint seam in the wallpaper, barely visible. With a collective gasp, Liam pushed, and a section of the wall swung inward with a grinding groan, revealing a narrow, pitch-black passage. A gust of stale, earthy air rushed out, carrying a smell like damp earth and something else, something ancient and metallic. The flashlight beam pierced the darkness, revealing only a few feet before it was swallowed by an abyss. What lay beyond this hidden entrance? Liam's flashlight beam cut a wavering path into the gloom of the newly revealed passage. A thick, oppressive silence swallowed the faint sounds of the crashing waves from outside. The air grew heavy, carrying a distinct scent of decaying wood, damp earth, and something metallic, like old blood. Each step echoed unnaturally as we ventured deeper, our breaths hitched in our throats. The walls, rough-hewn stone in some places, rotting wood in others, seemed to press in on us, the darkness behind the light feeling vast and alive. Maya instinctively reached for my hand, her grip tight, as Sam repeatedly adjusted his glasses, peering into the abyss. The passage twisted and turned, leading us further away from the familiar house. After what felt like an eternity, the passage opened into a small circular chamber. The air here was even colder, prickling our skin. In the center, half buried in the damp earth, was a weathered wooden chest bound with rusted iron. Liam knelt, prying open the lid with a groan of strained wood and metal. Inside, nestled amongst crumbling fabrics, was a single, unsettling object. A crudely carved wooden doll, its eyes two vacant, blackened pebbles, and around its neck a tarnished silver locket with an inscrutable symbol etched upon it. A shiver ran down my spine, a cold dread far worse than the chamber's chill. As Liam carefully lifted the doll, a faint, almost imperceptible whisper seemed to emanate from the locket, swirling around us like a phantom breeze. It wasn't a language we knew, but the sound itself was laced with an ancient sorrow. Sam gasped, convinced he felt a cold breath on his neck, spinning around wildly. The air in the chamber grew heavy, thick with an unseen presence. Then, without warning, the locket around the doll's neck began to pulse with a faint, sickly green light, casting grotesque shadows on the walls. The whisper intensified, transforming into a low, guttural growl that vibrated through the very earth beneath our feet. The tendril tightened, dragging Chloe towards the horrifying eye. Its green light pulsed, and the chamber filled with an unearthly hum that vibrated in our bones. Liam, recovering quickly, grabbed the discarded wooden doll. In a desperate, illogical act, he hurled it at the eye. The moment the doll made contact, the locket around its neck flared with a blinding emerald flash, and the tendril recoiled with a hiss like burning flesh. The eye pulsed erratically, its malevolence momentarily fractured. "Run!" Liam roared, his voice hoarse, pulling Chloe up. We scrambled, half-crawling, back into the narrow, winding passage, the terrifying hum echoing behind us. We stumbled through the twisting passage, the air growing colder, heavier, as if the very walls were breathing. Behind us, we could hear the guttural growl resuming, closer now, accompanied by the splintering sound of stone and wood. The passage itself seemed to resist us, the floorboards groaning underfoot, the rough-hewn stone walls feeling slick and wet. Sam tripped, his glasses flying off, and Liam yanked him up, his flashlight beam wildly bouncing off the claustrophobic confines. I could feel the presence pressing in, a cold, hungry entity following our every panicked step, its ancient fury palpable. Bursting out of the hidden passage, we crashed into the familiar hallway, gasping for breath. The relief was instantaneous, but short-lived. The house itself was no longer calm. The air was thick with the metallic scent we'd first encountered, now overpoweringly strong. The floorboards creaked and groaned, not from our weight, but from beneath us, as if something massive was moving through the house's foundations. The boarded-up windows on the far side of the house began to strain and splinter, wood tearing with sickening snaps. Then, with a deafening crack, the front door of the house slammed shut, shaking the entire structure. We were trapped. The whispers were no longer just a word from a journal. They were all around us, in the walls, in the air, 1,000 voices rising from the very fabric of the old beach house, converging on us. The slam of the front door echoed like a death knell, plunging us into a deeper dread. The whispers were no longer distant. They coiled around us, a cacophony of ancient, sorrowful voices that seemed to emanate from the very timbers of the house. We huddled together, Liam frantically shining his flashlight around the room, its beam weak against the encroaching shadows. Sam whimpered, his eyes darting, searching for an escape that wasn't there. Chloe, usually so resilient, looked pale, her grip on her camera white-knuckled. The house was alive, and it wanted us. Desperation spurred Liam to action. "We need to find a way out, or understand what we're dealing with," he declared, his voice trembling slightly. We grabbed the journal, its brittle pages now feeling heavier, colder. As Liam flipped through, I noticed a section with faded drawings, almost hidden in the binding. They depicted strange, ritualistic symbols, eerily similar to the one on the locket. Beneath them, a recurring phrase, "The Tide's Offering," was scrawled in a frantic hand. The words seemed to pulse on the page, the ink momentarily darkening as if freshly written. Suddenly, the floorboards beneath us groaned, not with the sound of old wood, but a deep, resonant rumble that vibrated through our very bones. It felt like something immense was shifting directly below. Dust rained down from the ceiling, and a grotesque crack spiderwebbed across the wall, mimicking the one in the hidden chamber. From the widening crack, a putrid, briny smell erupted, like decaying sea life and something indescribably ancient. Then, a low, rasping breath seemed to fill the room, a sound so close it felt like it was inside our heads, followed by the distinct splash of water originating from directly beneath the floor. "It's in the house!" Sam shrieked, his voice cracking with pure terror, pointing a trembling finger at the floor. A dark, viscous liquid, thick and oily, began to seep up between the floorboards, pooling into grotesque, slow-moving rivulets. As we watched in horrified fascination, the liquid coalesced, forming indistinct, shifting shapes that seemed to reach out, tendrils of darkness writhing towards us. The whispers surged, turning into a frantic chorus of shrieks and gurgles, as if 1,000 drowning voices were finally breaking through the barrier between worlds, ready to pull us down into their watery grave. The dark liquid, thick and putrid, didn't just pool. It began to writhe, forming grotesque, indistinct shapes that seemed to churn with an ancient, malevolent will. The frantic chorus of whispers surged, no longer just gurgles, but fragmented, echoing pleas and curses that clawed at our sanity.
It felt like the very essence of the ocean's forgotten dead was rising through the floorboards, pulling itself into a semblance of form. We scrambled backward, pressing against the far wall, the metallic, briny stench overwhelming our senses, our breath catching in our throats as the amorphous mass pulsed with a sickening, viscous rhythm.
The shifting mass solidified with a wet, squelching sound, rising higher. It was a monstrous, semi-humanoid figure, formed from the black, oily water, its features fluid and terrifyingly vague. Two glowing green points of light, like the locket and the eye, flared within its shadowy head, fixing us with a gaze that spoke of untold ages and unfathomable hunger. A voice, ancient and resonating, not heard but felt, echoed directly in our minds, a chilling whisper that promised an eternal embrace beneath the waves. The air grew impossibly cold, stealing our body heat as the tendrils of the creature stretched out, dripping with brine. Closer, closer. As the grotesque entity solidified, Maya's eyes fell upon the journal, open to the page with the tide's offering inscription and the ritualistic symbols. Her intuition screamed. "The offering!" she gasped, her voice barely a whisper. "It's not just a legend, it's a demand." The journal, it shows a specific spot on the beach near the old lighthouse where offerings were made to appease the sea. Liam, ever practical even in terror, looked from the menacing creature to the journal. The house groaned, the floor beneath us starting to buckle. We had to move, and fast, before the house became our tomb.
"The beach! We have to get to the beach!" Liam yelled, pointing towards the front door. The entity lunged, its tendrils whipping out, spraying foul-smelling liquid. We dodged, scrambling over splintering floorboards as the very foundations of the house groaned and shifted, the entire structure beginning to tear itself apart. We burst through the shattered front door, gasping lungfuls of salty night air, the crashing waves now deafening. But our escape was short-lived. The shadowy, viscous form of the creature followed, oozing from the crumbling doorway, its glowing eyes fixed on us. Ahead, the moonlit beach stretched out, leading to the dark, churning ocean, its waves crashing with an insistent, hungry roar. The offering was still due, and the sea itself seemed to be calling for payment. For more terrifying tales like this video, subscribe to Room Beneath and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next stories.